First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the town hall meeting on November the 30th. It's hard to believe that we got really one town hall left before the end of the year, as it comes from there. The reason why I say that is because of the fact that we have made the decision that the week between Christmas and New Year's, the office will be closed. We will be available if it's an emergency situation, but if you think of anything that you could possibly need prior to that, you know, we're going to go ahead and ask you if you could call us early on it. We would appreciate it, but we could do emergencies in that case, you know, because with Zoom and everything today, people have the availability to do things from a lot of the places. So I did want to go ahead and bring that into the equation. My biggest thrill at this time of the year is, I will be honest, tomorrow, Mary Violet, Megan, and Constantine are going to arrive from New York City. It will be our granddaughter's first trip to St. Louis, so we will welcome her with open arms as she comes in for the holiday season. So we really appreciate it. They are going to be staying with us for a couple weeks because we do have a lot going on in the Aul household. Matthew will be getting married on the 17th. So just a lot going on, but I'm really looking forward to the granddaughter being here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share of everything that's here. And I am going to go ahead and turn the first part of today's town hall meeting over to Miss Deanna.
Okay, great. Steve's not excited about being a grandpa at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
We're all excited to see her as well. So hopefully she'll bring her into the office so we can see the new baby. But anyway, you've been seeing all the tax deadlines coming up. As if you're following our newsletters, you've seen that we're running out of time to hit those deadlines to guarantee that your RMDs or any Roth conversions will be completed by the end of the year. If we don't get those in within the next couple of days, most of the custodians have a firm deadline of the 2nd of December. So, but most of our clients, this isn't an afterthought. This is something that, you know, the tax planning is part of your comprehensive plan. So it's something we've been talking about throughout the year so that these year-end deadlines don't come as a big surprise. It's something we might have been talking about in your previous first quarter, second quarter, third quarter review, and we're just tightening up the amounts possibly by the end of the year. So there are a couple other things you can still complete before the end of the year. And one of the biggest ones I wanted just to mention, if it's not on your radar, is any tax loss harvesting that you want to take advantage of. Oftentimes, the saying goes, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep, right? And when we think about our biggest expenses, we often overlook taxes because we assume there's not a whole lot we can do to change how much we're going to owe. But that's not the case. And so the tax planning is integrated into our overall planning strategies with our clients, and developing these tax strategies throughout the plan progression is one of the major areas that we focus on. And the tax code allows you to sell investments that have fallen below your purchase price and using the resulting loss to offset capital gains in your taxable accounts. This doesn't work in an IRA or 401k. We're talking about a non-qualified after-tax brokerage account. And so it could be a reason to consider pruning some of your losing positions, investments that you've held for a year or less as taxed as ordinary income, but investments that you've held longer are going to be taxed at the long-term capital gains rate, and that's going to range depending on your other ordinary income. So it is one way that you can offset potential future, you know, any other gains that you might have for the year. You can offset those losses against long-term gains, and any excess losses can be used as carry forwards up to $3,000 a year. You have to watch out for the wash sale rule. If you're doing it strictly as a tax loss harvesting technique. You have to wait 30 days before you go back into very similar positions. But if you're changing positions, if you're upgrading your portfolio, this might be a good time to take advantage of that. Also note, speaking of upgrades in a portfolio, mutual funds are required to pay out their shareholders any gains realized from the sale of stocks or bonds during the year. So if you've owned a fund in a taxable account, you're going to pay taxes on these distributions when you file your tax return. And given, you know, we know that this year's been challenging, right? So given poor performances in the stock market this year, you might not think it's a problem, but some of these funds were still sitting on really large gains from 2021. And if they've been forced to sell any of those winners to meet investor outflows, like when investors are selling off shares and they've had to sell some of those winners, you might get hit with some capital gains distributions, even if your fund lost money this year. And that's a rub. Mel likes to call those phantom taxes when you're holding mutual funds inside of an after-tax non-qualified brokerage account. It's one of the reasons why we particularly do not like them. One, because of their cost, and also because of those sneaky taxes. So if you are going to upgrade, you might consider using a tax loss harvesting technique and getting rid of those mutual funds now. Give us a call. There's still time to do that before the end of the year. We don't have as strict of deadlines on that as we do with the RMD or what we do with the Roth conversions. So it's important to remember, and one of the values of having a planning team on your side is your retirement is not an event. It's an ongoing evolution, and it's something that we have to monitor and adjust as life and events unfold, as markets bring different challenges and different opportunities. And tax planning is just one of those things that we address ongoing. It's never a one and done. And that can be particularly challenging. I know for women particularly, I like a checklist. I know Stacy likes a checklist. We like to check things off. We've done that. And one of the challenges with our retirement planning is it can be a nagging concern, a nagging frustration or stress, especially if you're distracted by headline news and other horror stories that they might be discussing just to grab your attention. And is that affecting your retirement? Well, we have reintroduced the Women in Wealth program. If you are like me and you like to make sure all your ducks are in a row, it is one of the values of having a true financial planning team on your side and walking you through this transition. The Women in Wealth is only for women. Sorry, guys, you can't come. But for those of you that would like to bring a friend, we do have an event coming up next week on Tuesday and another on Thursday. Join us, call the office and RSVP for this. This one, particularly this month, is a dinner event, so we do have to have a very specific head count. But the Women in Wealth has been, we've been getting great feedback about this program, and we'd sure love to have you there if you have an interest in learning a little bit more about some of the unique challenges that we as women face as we enter in retirement. And that's what I had for you tonight. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much, Ms. Deanna. Yes, the Women in Wealth next week. If you'd like to bring a friend, please give the office a call. We do have to have your information prior. Thank you for telling people that, Ms. Deanna. And now I'm going to turn over some time to Mr. Mel.
I'm going to do a little quick thing on annuities. I know that just surprises everybody that I would be talking about annuities. After 30 years, I still enjoy talking about them. this is an article written by a gentleman in a group called Annuity 123. And the first thing I'll tell you is that anytime you have a discussion about annuities, you have to take a couple of things into consideration. Basically, their ability to pay out is based on the strength and claims paying ability of the insurance company. So one of the things you want to make sure of is that you are dealing with strong, financially secure companies that are well run and profitable, because you want them to be there to take care of the and honoring the contract that you might have with them. The other thing is, people talk a lot about how annuities work and what the pros and cons are. One of the very, very strong pros for us in building a portfolio is that we have products that can't have a negative return due to the market. Now, you can cancel them early and pay a surrender charge or a walk-away fee or things of that nature. But it's very important to know that if you stick with the contract and the insurance company sticks with the contract, you can't lose money in a bad year because of the market returns. It's very, very important that you keep those things in mind. There's a few other myths that are out there that you might want to be aware of. One, all annuities are the same. Believe me, that is not true. There are 4 major categories of annuities, and within each category, there are multiple different functions and processes that certain ones are designed to do certain things. I use the example all the time of cars. You know, if I want to go out to the dirt track and have a race in a mutter, I'm not going to take a Ferrari. Okay, if I want a super fast street car, maybe I want that Ferrari. But if my job is to haul rocks, I don't want either one of those things. I want a nice pickup or a dump truck or something that is designed for that particular job. Annuities are no different. You first pick the job you want to do or accomplish, and then you find the tool that'll get that job done for you. So they are not all the same by far. Secondly, annuities have high fees. Well, it's true. For variable annuities, you may very well have significantly high fees, especially if you add on additional riders and guarantees over and above the performance of the product. The fees can run anywhere from 2 to 5%. One of the things that you'll find is that we don't tend to use variable annuities in our practice, hardly at all. There are a couple of very minor exceptions where there were very minimal fees and no time commitment on the product, but we don't even use that one very much. So we kind of stay away from that particular structure. So it is important you make sure that you know which type of annuity you're talking about, and that some of them do have very high fees. Other annuities have no fees whatsoever. Even in some of them, they have no fees for the base structure, but you can add riders on for additional functions, and there might be a charge. So again, understand what it is you're getting and what you might be paying for. The insurance company will keep my money after I die. This is a very common one, and it's because of confusion of using the word annuity. That has so many different variations in meaning and definition. You can have something called an immediate annuity, which is a function of, here's the money, I gave it to the insurance company, they're going to pay me a check for the rest of my life, and when I die, they get to keep the balance. There is such a thing out there. Not something that we use in our practice, hardly ever, and not something we would recommend on any normal basis. That is a type of annuity, not all annuities do that. Most annuities are contracts with an insurance company where you still own your money. It'd be no different than you putting it in a bank. They have your money, but you still own it. There's a contract with the bank. If you buy a CD, you promise to leave the money for a certain period of time. They give you an interest rate. There's a type of annuity that does that very thing. They will pay you a flat interest rate for a selected period of time in exchange for you entrusting them with your money. There's no opening cost or closing cost if you stay within the contract. For example, I was talking to a gentleman today that has a lot of cash. He wants to make some money off of it. He's got it in the bank, earning about 3.5% right now, and he's looking for a better rate of return. I found him a fixed annuity that's paying 5.3% guaranteed for 3 years. And then you can just walk away. So he said, oh, it's like a 36-month CD paying a lot higher interest rate. Yeah, you can look at it that way. The difference is the contract is with the insurance company as opposed to the bank. There's also a difference in the guarantees. You got to be aware of that too. Another myth you have to look at is annuities pay high commissions. Depends on the annuity. The one I was talking about to that gentleman pays probably about the same as what we would have earned in a year for managing your account. So is that high? And that's open for discussion. But you probably pay a higher fee for management of the money with most fund managers today than what we would make in a commission on that product. Now, there are other products where the commissions are higher. They can be 5, 6, 7, 8%, or even higher than that if you go with the really, really long products, which is not something we would normally recommend. The comparison there is, what do you pay over time for a fund manager? If you're being charged 1% and they keep your money for 10 years, didn't you pay 10%? I mean, think of it a little bit. One is a upfront payment paid by the insurance company. The other one is a long-term payment paid by you out of your pocket. So something to compare there. At least make sure you understand what that really means about commissions versus a fee for service. Annuities have not changed. The financial industry has evolved over. Yeah, this is a big myth. They've changed a lot. I've been doing this for a long time, and the products today, some of them are absolutely phenomenal growth products. One of the myths that people have is that you don't make much money in annuities. We have clients who have annuity products over the last 10 or 15 years that made more money on their annuity than they did on their managed money. It's just absolutely amazing. I can even show you math over time where the return over the last 20 years would have been pretty darn good, if not better. So it's something you would want to explore a little bit more. I just want you to understand that they've changed a lot. If you're looking to purchase an income stream, but still control and own your money, those products have phenomenally changed, even within the last 3 to 5 years. As a matter of fact, just within the last 12 months, there's been a tremendous change in the availability of different types of products because interest rates are rising. When the interest rates rise, the insurance companies actually have more money to work with and pass that on into better performing products for their clients. So that's something I would highly recommend that you explore. I'm too young or too old for an annuity. Well, that depends on what your primary purpose is. I won't spend a lot of time on that, but we use them more for retirees that are interested in performance or income without the risk to the market, from the market to the principal. If we're looking for a way to protect the money and still get a good income or growth on it, the annuities might be a really good choice. So the reality is there's a whole lot of thoughts out there when people think about annuities that they might think they understand them, or they've had a bad one a long time. I had a Taurus in 1990, late 1990s. It was just a horrible product. Therefore, I would never, ever, ever buy another Ford product. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. Is that logical? Is that even reasonable? Because I had one bad car and one bad model that I just, everything's bad that Ford ever made. It's not a reasonable concept. Neither would it be saying that a particular stock was bad, therefore the stock market is awful. Just keep in mind that it is a sophisticated financial tool, and you need to have someone that works with you that understands the products, the variations in the different structures, and how they might be best used for you. So my thought is that if you're looking to put a retirement or a financial plan together, don't throw the idea of guaranteed income or guaranteed growth, guaranteed safety of the principal from market changes. Don't throw that out the window without giving it some really serious consideration.
I'll get to go. I don't normally get to do it in 2022, but today was one of those days where the market jumped tremendously.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? Because Powell said that instead of giving us another 75 basis points, which is 0.75% increase in the interest rates, it got lowered to 0.5. It's still an increase, and it's still going to probably happen over the next 3 to 4 months. The article I looked at earlier this week stated that he believes that we should be at about 5.25 to 5.5. We're at 3.25 to 3.75. So there is going to be more increases over the next 12 to 24 months. And he said he would probably hold it that way for a year or two. So the idea that the interest rates are going to jump up and be back down where they were before by this time next year is not a realistic expectation. We are going to have increased interest rates for a while, which does help retirees. Why? Those fixed income buckets, CDs, annuities, things of that nature are helped by higher interest rates. The ultra low interest rates that we've experienced over the last 10 plus years, those things have been hurt. Having that safe place to park money. Now, I'll be honest, the safe place to mark money, CDs have never kept up with inflation. So it's never going to beat it, but it just feels better when we've got a little bit higher rate of return. So we look at those things. So the market, what happened today? The Dow increased by almost 2.18%, but it had a 1,000-point move once the Powell made the announcement. It ended up, almost 700 points higher. The NASDAQ up almost 4.41%. Why? Because of the fact that a lot of the technology companies get hurt a lot more by higher interest rates because they're borrowing money or they're looking at to replace the money. The S&P 500, up 3.09%. So we have to look at that. I will warn everybody, one day does not make a rally. This is not all of a sudden the day that we look at it. We have to look at what's going to happen on Thursday and Friday and as we go into the holiday season. But it was just news that needed to be heard in the market. There is a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines where people have sat on the sidelines that are looking at saying, when can we get back in? So those are the things that we look at. And I think the most important thing that it takes is I have to have an investment plan. If I go by the winds and say, okay, God, the market was up great today, let's put all of our money back in, and the next 2 days it goes down. Or if all of a sudden the market goes down for 2 to 3 days and I think it's time to get out. Timing the market is almost an impossible thing to do. So we want to be real careful when we start to look at those things. We have talked to a lot of our clients about taking some of those 10% free withdrawals from the fixed products and moving them back towards the market. We do have that availability to do that. So a lot of people we talked about in our reviews and people that are coming in that have annuities that are potential clients, that we could use that 10% free withdrawal within your annuities to increase our exposure to equities with money that did not go down due to market volatility over this current year. So those are some of the things that we look at. Having an investment plan and what are the pillars? One, how am I going to get my income? That's usually the thing that most people want to know. How am I going to get income from this product? Two, my risk reward. How much risk am I taking to get the reward that I'm looking for? Then people really want to know about long-term care and legacy planning. And the part that a lot of people, I've had conversations with clients this week about taxes. So those are the major parts, and those are the major things that we like to look at when we start to look at what makes up a plan. It is more than just what did my investments do. It's very important. During the accumulation years, how much it's making is a very important tool. During our decumulation or retirement years, what we have left and how much we can spend after taxes becomes very important. So those are the things that we look at. Might not have needed the advisor during those accumulation years, and look at what my needs are when I retire. The needs are completely different. So again, I want to thank everybody for the referrals that you've given to the Aul Financial Group this year. It has helped us grow exponentially within our business because we like doing business with people like you. So thank you very much for doing that. I'm going to go ahead and close with World Cup, it's on right now. It's probably the largest sporting event in the world. You know, the USA, if you can believe, had 2 shutouts out of their 3 games, and they do play again at 9 o'clock on Saturday. So let's hope that we get past that round of 16 and make it to the Elite 8 and possibly keep moving on with, you know, the World Cup. It's a fun event to watch. I prefer to watch about the last 10 minutes when it gets real exciting, but as it goes from there, it's still an event that it's amazing to me what these guys can do with just their feet. So thank you, everybody, again. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Please enjoy this holiday season. And remember, the offices will be closed the week between Christmas and New Year's. So if you have anything that you really need to talk to us about, don't hesitate, make that call, get in and see us before. But again, thank you very much for this. We've only got one more town hall in 2022. Thank you for being here.